Indian textile and the world market. This has been discussed. We discussed in it about words tell us history, means different types of names of the textile has been derived from the place of the origin or from the type of design which is made on it or created on it. We also discussed about Indian textile in European markets, as in how England people started protesting against Indian textile because they never wanted, they never wanted India to prosper, and so they were jealous, you can say, because India was getting world famous in its textile industry, and so they banned the use of Indian textile in their country, and they introduced an act called as Colico Act, where they banned the import of Indian textile in European countries, and they started their own industries based on textile. We also understood about major centers of weaving in India. I've showed you the map, where we have discussed, and the same map is available in your textbook also. We discussed about major centers where different types of textile were created in our country, and still it is getting created. Today we will be discussing about two topics: who were the weavers, and the decline of Indian textile. Got it? So students, let us understand and learn about who are actually weavers. Who do we call as weavers? Weavers often belong to communities that specialized in weaving. Of course, weavers are those who have a special skill in weaving. Weaving is not an easy task, definitely, whether you do it by hand or by machine. But since our Indian people earlier used to do it by their own hands without any machinery, and that was the reason why they were world famous. They had this kind of creativity. They had this kind of, and this creativity was a gift to them from generation to generation. And that was the reason why they were called as specialized weavers. Their skills were passed from one generation to the next. It was a business kind of a thing that kept on going from generation to generation. A grandfather learns the same thing from his father, then he gives the same knowledge and education about his skills to his son, and then the father gives to his son, and then it keeps on going. There were certain names are Tanti weavers of Bengal, Jilahas or Momin weavers from North India, Saleh and Kaikolar and Devang of South India, and some of the communities famous for, there are a few communities who are very much famous for weaving. So Tanti, Jilahas or Momin, or Saleh and Kaikolar, Devangs, they belong to different areas. Belonging definitely they must be specialized in a particular kind of a skill in weaving, which was found only in their particular area. And that was the reason they were very much famous, because they had this kind of creativity, not just any new creativity, but it was going on since generation to generation. They might be including some other designs as per the demand and as per the time which goes on, but that particular skill, immediately learning a new design, is done only by a specialized person. For example, if we are teachers and we own a specialized degree in becoming a teacher. Similarly, we have potters, and we have various other occupation, you can say, or various other profession. Those who are specialized, those who get a specialized degree, or you can say a skill, and only that person knows how to move on with that particular skill or creativity. I hope you have understood about why do we call these people as weavers. Now student, let us understand about the process of weaving. How a cloth is completed and is sold in the market. The first stage of production was spinning, a work done mostly by women. The charkha and the takli were household spinning instruments. We had earlier, they had the spin kind of a thing, called as a spindle or a takli, and a rough or a raw cotton is spun into it, and that is then fixed into charkha, and then the whole raw cotton is spun as a thread, as a big bunch of thread. That is the process. Mostly this process used to be carried out by women. The thread was spun on the charkha and rolled on a takli. Okay, and this is how, like, the cotton becomes when it is spun, it comes out like thin thread kind of a thing. Okay, and then it is spun and it becomes a huge bunch of thread. When the spinning was over, the thread was woven into cloth by the skilled weavers. Okay, and then when spinning is over, okay, and it is woven by the weavers, and then it is created in the form of a cloth. In most communities, weaving was a task done by men. Okay, if you see the charkha or the spinning is done by women, so weaving were done by men in most communities, not all the communities. For colored textiles, the thread was dyed by the dyer known as rangres. Okay, now if you want to create a colored cloth, okay, those thread which is spun, okay, that is dyed first and then it is weaved. All right, and this is how and that person who colors the thread, or you say the whole yarn of thread, is called as rangres. For printed cloth, the weavers needed the help of specialist block printers known as chipigar. Okay, now this word chipigar, okay, is why is this man or the person who prints those different designs on the cloth. Okay, now these weavers need to create different designs on their cloth, and what they have to do is they have to take a help of the person who is an expert in in printing different types of block designs. Okay, and then that person is called as chipigars. Okay, chipi means chapai. Okay, chapai means to imprint, and that was the reason why those people who used to imprint different designs, block designs on the cloth, are called as chipigars. Okay, handloom weaving and the occupations associated with it provided livelihood for millions of Indians. And because this particular thing was kind of gift for them, and that's the reason they utilize their skill, the gifted skill, as their livelihood, and millions of Indians were involved in it. You have charkha people, as in the people, those who women, even women were earning the livelihood in this particular process. They used to spun the cotton, and then weavers are there included, and then we have people, those who color the cloth or textile, or then we have people, those who imprint different designs with the help of blocks on the whole yarn of cloth, and then like how many people, and then it is sold in the market. So many people are connected in one particular process. Okay, that's the reason it provided millions of Indians livelihood. Children, these are the few pictures that I have gathered of different weavers. Tanti and Jilaha. Jilaha is from North India, Tanti is from Bengal. They are the original and authentic people, because as you know, Bengal, the very first industry, textile industry, or you can say cloths, different types of cloths which were found, which people encountered, was in Bengal. So we have Tanti from Bengal, we have Julaha from North India, we have Kai Kolar and Devang people, different types of weavers from the southern part of India, that is South India. See children, this is the process. Okay, this is how the cotton is spun into a spindle, which is called as takli, and then the whole roughly spun thread is again spun into charkha. Okay, and a big bunch of thread comes out, and then a person then a cloth is created, and the person who colors it, and then see, this is how the block printing is done on the cloth. I have shown you pictures over there. Okay, so this is the process of how a cloth is created. Now this was actually done by hands, by people in earlier days, and that was the reason they were very much world famous for the creativity, because it was all done by their hands without any machinery. And this was the reason why Europeans, they never wanted Indians to get famous for this particular thing. So what did they do? They created machines so that they could create more good products, okay, than Indian products, and within less number of time, and at a very cheap rate. Okay, cheap rate as in the cost of production for them was quite cheap. Okay, then they did not need to spend more of money in creating cloth through machineries. But yes, they sold it in a very high rate after creating it, because they compared it from handmade material and from machine made material, and that was the reason people, they started comparing, and they started, buying more products from European countries than Indian people, Indian weavers. All right, students, let us move further, learning about the decline of Indian textile. The development of cotton industries in Britain affected textile producers in India in several ways. Okay, textile producers in our country got affected in several ways because Britain is now flourishing the world market with their own textile. Okay, how did they get affected? Let's see. First, Indian textiles now had to compete with British textiles in European and American market. Earlier, Indian markets did not have any competitor. Okay, now they have competitors, European and American competitors. They have started, facing troubles with these competitors, and now they are facing a lot of problem in selling their products worldwide. Okay, secondly, exporting textiles to England also became increasingly difficult since very high duties were imposed on Indian textiles imported into Britain. What Britain started doing is, English people, what they started doing, they imposed heavy duties are the taxes that are actually imposed while importing or exporting products. Okay, so when Indians wanted to export products to Britain, okay, they had to face a heavy duty. Okay, heavy duty or heavy tax they had to pay to the British government. So that was that became quite impossible for Indian textile producers. And that was the reason slowly Indian textile producers they started exporting less of the textile into different European markets. Let us continue with the after effect of the decline of textile industry into India. By the beginning of 19th century, English made cotton textile successfully ousted Indian goods from their traditional markets in Africa, America and Europe. Successfully, Britishers were trying to eradicate Indian textiles from all over the world, and they were successful in supplying their own textile to different markets, African market, American market and European markets. Thousands of weavers in India were now thrown out of employment. They were not having any employment in our country because all the textile producers were facing losses. And if they are facing losses, how are they going to pay their own laborers who are working for them as weavers? So they were thrown out of employment. Bengal weavers were the worst hit. Definitely, they were mainly Bengal weavers were very much famous, and that particular area was worst hit. English and European companies stopped buying Indian products, and their agents no longer gave out advances to weavers to secure supplies. Okay, so English and European people, they did not buy, they stopped buying products from India, textile products from India, and their agents also were not paying any kind of advances. See, if any order comes, they have to pay advance, right? Okay, if I want to give an order to someone, the person will ask for an advance, so that the order remains secure and the order does not go to anybody else. So that's why the agents did not English agents did not give any advances to the weavers so that the orders could remain secure. Distressed weavers and wrote petitions to the government to help them. Okay, there is a petition there in your textbook. Okay, we will read it out in our live class, but for now let us continue. But worse was still to come. By the 1830s, British cotton cloth flooded Indian markets. In fact, by the 1880s, 2/3 of all the cotton clothes worn by Indians were made of cloth produced in Britain. Now, what they have started doing is they stopped Indian textile. Okay, and what were they doing? They were supplying India itself their own cotton textile. Okay, they took the idea of how to create textile, and they created it with machineries. And what did they do is they were trying to sell the same thing in our country, and our country people, they were definitely attracted. They don't wanted any handmade material, they wanted machine made, because that was something new for them. Okay, so mostly people started wearing Britain made materials. This affected not only specialist weavers but also spinners. So everybody who was connected in the whole process of textile all got affected. Thousands of rural women who made a living by spinning cotton thread were rendered jobless. Okay, even women, those who were trying to help their men, okay, in running their homes, even they got unemployed. Okay, so everybody who were affected, everybody who were connected to this particular industry, they all got affected, and European markets were flourishing all over the country. What happened to the weavers and spinners who lost their livelihood? Many weavers became agricultural laborers. Okay, all those who lost their livelihood because of England market was flourishing in India as well. What happened to those who lost their jobs? Okay, they started working as agricultural laborers. Some migrated to cities in search of work, and yet others went out of the country to work in plantations in Africa and South America. All those who can afford to move out of the country, they moved out of the country. All those who can afford to move out, at least in from one city to another city, they moved out from villages to cities so that they could get good work over there as laborer, or as any for any kind of job which they could find for themselves and for their family. Okay, some became agricultural laborers, and some of these handloom weavers also found work in new cotton mills that were established in Bombay, now Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Sholapur, Nagpur and Kanpur. Some of the weavers, they got their jobs in the cotton mills that were created in Bombay, Ahmedabad, Sholapur, Nagpur and Kanpur. So they found jobs, like they somehow tried to find jobs where they could fit in, and at least for their family and for themselves. All right, I hope you have understood about this chapter, at least what was done for today, and we will continue in our next live class, and we will try to end up the topic. I hope you all have understood. Thank you. Bye. Take care.